Over the years browsing X, I've heard quite a few stories that are nearly identical to my grandpa's. Kinda discouraged me from sharing a story actually because I figured it would have just sounded stale. But oh well, here's a well-known story in my family. B grandpa, 12 years old or roundabouts, walked to and from school every day. Always cut across a ton of fields to get there. Fields are always empty after school. Makes for a lonely walk, travel in silence. Watching your feet as you go, just thinking. Hear your uncle's voice call your name. Look up. There's uncle on the side of the field about 10 feet away. He tells you to hurry home. Dinner's almost ready. Says to tell your mom, his sister, that he's sorry he won't be able to make it. He's gotta go somewhere. Yes, sir. You wave goodbye and uncle smiles at you as you go. Reach home. Dinner's ready. But mom and dad are quiet. Your uncle died this afternoon. Fell off his horse and broke his neck. Grandpa told the story to grandma. She told it to the rest of us. Grandpa only ever talked about it once in front of me. Said his uncle was a bit of a drinker. That day was the most sober I'd ever seen him, and I found it strange at the time. B probably 14 to 15. Have sleepover at friend's house. House is pretty old, creaky, and eerie. Everyone piles on friend's bed and goes to sleep. Wakes up suddenly. Suddenly felt like we weren't alone. Rolled over looking at the closet. Sees goddamn face in darkness. 2 eyes, lips and hair that look like the damn Grudge. Stays for 3 to 4 seconds before sliding back in the closet. Tries nudging friend but no luck. Freaking the fuck out but can't move due to fear. Literally stays awake until sunrise. Months later, we all go to see The Grudge when it came out. Freak out and run out of the movie followed by friend who are in tears. Everyone saw that freaking thing that night. Never slept over again. Nope.jpg. Really freaking tired one night. Get home and collapse on the sofa. I'm too tired to get in bed. Sleep soundly. Crash. Fell off the sofa. God, I feel like shit. Something feels incredibly off. I look around. That's not my sofa. Realize I'm in a completely different house. Instantly fucking freeze up in fear. How the fuck am I here? Could I have stumbled into the wrong house? How did I even get in? What if I was abducted? Calm down and decide to explore the house. Why the fuck I decided on this and didn't just leave, I'll never know. The house looks old and abandoned. Doesn't look like anyone's lived here for a while. Keep hearing noises you'd expect from an old rundown house. Think I keep seeing someone in my peripheral vision. Hear a door creak open. It wasn't open before. I'm freaking terrified at this point. Questions are racing through my mind, but I'm not getting any answers. Sprint out of the house. Every shadow is a potential threat. I'm outside on the street and calming down now that I'm out of there. Start laughing from relief. I'm such a freaking idiot. Hear knocking. What? Turn around. Can't see a thing. Knocking again. Turn back to the house. Dark figure standing at the window. Waves at me. Nope.jpg.exe.avi rmvb. I swear to God this is a true story. I've never felt so freaking terrified in my life. I probably stumbled into the wrong house and encountered a squatter. Be very young, 5 or 6, on a family vacation across the pond to England, taking a tour of some very old medieval ruins. Wander off to, I don't know, do toddler stuff. Come across an ancient well with a heavily rusted metal grate covering the opening. A couple of rusted ladder rungs attached to the outside. Enchanted with my discovery, proceed to throw rocks and grass and stuff through the grate. From down below. Hello? The voice is quiet, clearly female and clearly English. Jump. But otherwise think nothing of the situation, as children are wont to do. Me. Hi. The well. It's so nice to see you. What is your name? Tell the voice my name and return the question. The voice responds with a name that I can never remember. The well. It really is nice to meet you, Anon. I never get to see anyone anymore. Me. Why not? The well. I'm stuck. Me. How come? The well. I fell here a long time ago. I think someone might have pushed me. Start to notice a sloshing sound at the bottom of the well. Not tall enough to see over the edge, but it sounds quite far to the bottom. Me. Okay. I'll go tell my mommy and we can help you come out. Sloshing stops. The well. No, please don't go away. I'm scared. It's hard for me to stay here. I try to ask why she's scared a couple of times. Can't remember getting a straight answer. Instead, I like you. Do you like me? I say that I do, but starting to get nervous. Childhood notwithstanding. The well. It's dark and lonely down here, but it doesn't ever change. There are places we can go. We can make things. Scared but curious, begin to clamber up the iron rungs to see over the edge of the well. The well. I've been lonely for a long time. You can help me. My eyes clear the edge of the well in time to see the metal grate slowly swing open of its own accord, hinges squealing. Nope.jpg. Fall off the well. Tear off across the ruins looking for mommy. Behind me. Splashing. Metal squeaking. Screaming. Nope, 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 nope. I work with a woman from Hong Kong. Call her Rachel. Rachel used to live with her older sister for a while. Older sister's husband worked every day. Her older sister worked too. Rachel stayed home. Occasionally, she would see sister's husband walk from one room to another, always while he was at work. She would check the room she saw him go into and it would be empty. Told older sister. She's seen it too. Says it's a double. Sister tells Rachel not to talk about it. It's bad luck. They still see the double regularly. Rachel told me this, but she kinda struggles with English. She didn't use the word double, but it seems like a good word for it. She said lots of people see these things and they all kinda ignore it. I'm really glad you wrote this down because it reminded me that one of my friends had a pretty similar experience. Here's the story. Be my friend. In high school in Homer, Alaska in the 1980s. Being kinda friends with this weird girl in class. She keeps talking about how her brother's double is so annoying. What.jpg? Ask her if she means his twin. Does he have a twin? She says no. She means his double. Proceeds to tell my friend about how she sees her brother in two places at once and also interacts with him. Like she walks into the kitchen and her brother is there eating cereal. Then she walks to the living room through the only pathway and there is her brother watching TV. She says she can talk to both of them and they behave similarly. Although the double only appears at her house, only difference is that the double likes playing pranks. Apparently the double likes to hide in weird places, like in her closet or in the kitchen cabinets or under the couch, and jump out and scare her. My friend is thoroughly WTFing at this point. He also doesn't believe her at all and thinks it's complete bullshit because this girl is totally into spirits and Ouija, and is almost talking about communing with the dead and third eyes and other stuff that make her story suspect. Plus, she's told him a lot of other ghost stories at this point and they all sounded like total bullshit. But this one is different because she isn't scared and she didn't frame it as a ghost story or even a cult. It was just part of her life. Flash forward like 20 years. Currently living in Washington. Traveled back to Homer for some family event. I don't remember what he said. At the Anchorage airport, my friend runs into that girl's brother. They recognize each other from high school and catch up a bit, and he learns that the brother is also coming into town to visit and that his sister will also be there. Say goodbye to each other after they collect baggage, and my friend makes a note to look up that girl he was friends with in high school since she'll actually be in town. Get to Homer after a several-hour drive. The next day, he goes to her house to say hi. Very small town, he remembers where her folks lived. They catch up since they haven't really talked since high school. My friend casually mentions that he saw her brother at the airport and asked if he was busy and when he'd be coming back. The girl looks at him all confused. Huh? Explains that her brother is coming to visit but that he won't be back for another 3 days because it was hard finding a flight from Colorado and back. What.jpg? My friend suddenly remembers all that shit this girl told him about her brother's double back in high school. Shitsbricks.png. After that, I think they talked about it for a bit and the girl said she hadn't seen the double since high school and had kind of forgotten about it, but seemed to take it in stride and find it funny and said something like glad to hear he's still kicking around up there. Nothing else happened regarding that, but kinda a lot like your story. This happened a few years ago when I lived in Tennessee. Driving home from Memphis to Nashville. Be about 3 a.m. Halfway home, I realized I forgot to get gas. Take exit with scant hope that I'll find a gas station that's open. Drive about 10 miles and come upon a Sunoco. Pull up to pump. Ding ding. Attendant runs out from the garage and promptly begins fueling my car. Feeling pretty confused since full-service gas stations are rare, and one being open this late is flat out weird. Attendant starts making small talk with me. I mention how odd it is that they're open at this time of night. His demeanor changes from affable to wary. Things get silent and awkward. That'll be $19. Hand him my debit card. He stares at it puzzled. What am I supposed to do with this? Explain I have no cash, only debit card. He just stares at me. Well, don't worry about it, this one's on the house. Thank him, and get back on the highway. 2 weeks later, I'm passing back through the area. Get off at the same exit. Follow road to where the gas station was, intending to pay for the gas I got and thank them for being so helpful. Pull into lot. The place is dilapidated. Looks like it's been abandoned for about 30 years. Get super creeped out and head back for the highway. Had a family member that had one of these experiences. Sodak 1990s. Stormy night. Lightning illuminates what would have been a completely dark landscape. Father is driving out to visit grandmother and help out on the farm. Storm gets fierce. Can't see good enough to drive. Unfortunately, he's still ways from the farm, but he's also a good distance away from anything. Literally anything, just miles and miles of flat prairie. Through the heavy rain, lightning illuminates a windmill overlooking a small barn off on the right. My dad thanks his luck and pulls off the road to take shelter from what he assumes is going to be a nasty hailstorm. Waits for lightning to illuminate windmill. Sure enough, crack. He takes off for the shelter of the barn. Once inside the barn, he hunkers down. Storm gets worse. Ends up sleeping on the floor, safe from the hailstorm erupting outside. Morning the next day, car windows blown in by hail. Had he been in the car, he would have taken a beating. Brushes glass off the driver's seat and pushes on towards grandmother's. Helps in whatever. Talk to my grandmother about the barn. What barn? She says. The one just west of here on the right side of the road. Oh, you must have been mistaken. There's nothing in that direction till Pierre. Sure as shit on the way back home, my dad passes where the barn should have been. Only a foundation stands. A few smashed pictures of a couple long dead rot in a pile of rubble. Did some research. Found that the owners of the barn died in 1956, when the barn collapsed in a snowstorm. Be me, 19 years old, 2010. Friend calls me to go pick him up from class so we can chill. Stop by gas station to use his food stamp card to buy snacks. He suggests we chill at the cemetery behind the school until it's time to drop him off back to class. Cemetery is very old and has rumors of witchcraft taking place at night. Middle of the day, so no worries there. Enter the driveway and pull over at the outskirts of the cemetery to not bother the bereaved visiting loved ones. Eat chips and talk for a while. Something hits my Suburban in the rear and launches me forward. Lights turn on inside. We both get out thinking someone rear-ended us. No one behind us and no other vehicle in sight. We look at each other in disbelief. Get back in the vehicle and continue eating chips till it was time to leave. Me and my friends still talk about it till this day. Be me, 8 years old. Visiting family in Sri Lanka. We're driving to Colombo in the dead of night. Have to travel through a forest to get there. Suddenly, my uncle stops the car and turns off the lights. My dad asks him what's up and he whispers something back into Mil. Dad's face freezes. I vividly remember his eyes widen in terror. I ask what's up. I'm told that it's a bull elephant in must, and that driving past it might drive it to attack. I could tell that it was a lie. My dad is a dreadful liar. That, and it was pitch black. How could he tell it was in must? The two men debate about what to do for a few minutes. I was born in the West, so I can't speak to Mil. I could only tell that both my father and uncle were getting increasingly frantic. Uncle finally panics and slams the pedal. We set off at a breakneck pace. My dad tries to pull me away from the window, but I was too keen on seeing the elephant. I look to the rear and I see something that appears to be running behind us. It's nowhere near the size of an elephant. It looked and ran somewhat like a man. I couldn't see clearly at all, but if I didn't know any better, I'd have thought it was a bearded man in a strange flowing coat. Hear a strange grating sound, but it's almost drowned out by the sound of the engine. I tell my dad that there's a man there and that he must have been running away from the elephant. Dad doesn't even answer. He says something to my uncle, and my uncle responds with what I know to be the Tamil equivalent of "oh my god." Spend the next few days at the temple, where my uncle makes sure that various pujas are performed for my safety and prosperity. My dad denies it whenever I bring it up, but I know what I saw that day. It's haunted me ever since. Something awful and scary happened to me last year. I green texted this event earlier today on X in a Skinwalker thread, but I lost it. It is long but real, and it still makes me feel a little queasy. What do you think? Live in rural North Nevada. Them thars gold and them hills boys. No, but it really sucks. Hanging with 3 bros drinking at the house. Call up some friends. It's desert party time. Drive into nowhere on a dirt road, so we can shoot targets and shit and listen to obnoxiously loud music. 30 miles into driving, completely stark barren desert. The dirt road ends at no significant location. Wow, that's weird. A bunch of other gays met us there. There are some hot-ass girls too, oh lord. We set up tables and chairs, get the bumpiest car stereo going, and everyone is drinking and firing rifle into the hills. Shit is so cash. The girls hate the guns and are generally worthless. Some half-dozen weed-smoking members of our cohort nip off to smoke a blunt. Need to go to the top of the tallest nearby hill to acquire the best smoking spot. Get to the top. The hill overlooks a valley, and on the side opposite us, holy shit, there is an older structure in the distance, maybe half a mile. It looks like a farmhouse. It's exploring time, son. Gather everyone. This is going to be so awesome. It is still early evening, still light out. As the entourage gets closer to the farmhouse, it becomes clear that it is really freaking spooking skeletons. The females are too scared to enter the unholy basilica because of the front door. Pick related. Jesus freaking Christ. It is a 1940s era 2-story very fancy farmhouse. Everything is thrown all over the place. It is absolutely covered in rat shit and decades of undisturbed dust. However, what is disturbing is that everything is still there. Pillows, blankets, chandeliers, books, furniture, pictures, paintings, even an old film reel projector and screen. These people were obviously very wealthy. But in 70 years, the property has been pillaged, but none of the shit was stolen, sold at auction, destroyed, retrieved by friends or relatives. The antique cars sit rusting into the ground out front with all their parts still on. Old school mint green refrigerator with door open. Dissected moldified ancient food remains. No, this is not right at all. How did this happen? Start to get creeped out. Wardrobes filled with World War II era looking clothing. I do not know the significance of the farmhouse with the story. The thing is, I felt like the farmhouse was a very bad place for reasons I did not really understand. I mean, nothing bad happened at the farmhouse, it was just a little odd. But absurd shit went down that night, and it started with the farmhouse. I went from drinking beers and having a good time to freaking the fuck out. The sun was starting to go down, so we needed to get back to party camp. Barbecue time. Whipping burgers and steaks up on the grill. Oh my god, that shit is delicious. My friend Dan has lived down the street from me our whole lives. Essentially, we have known each other since elementary school. Dan is fat but funny, so it is tolerable. He comes up to me and quietly says that he wants to go home. I try to get him to tell me what is up, but he doesn't give me a straight answer. I am sure he was right spooked by the farmhouse like I was. Eating jello off a lolly's stomach, so don't really give a shit. Today was a good day after all. Brought lots of cut wood. Bro number 2 and I get the bonfire going. The light of the bonfire illuminates someone freaking walking towards us in the desert. They aren't even walking along the direction of the road. Everyone essentially shits their pants, turning the music off and scrambling thinking it is an axe murderer, or even worse, a cop. It is just this freaking dude in a hoodie, walking in the middle of the pitch black desert. Somewhat drunk and confused, in light of the strange circumstances, we are relieved that it is just some relatively friendly guy about our age, maybe no older than 20. We tell him he scared the shit out of us and asked what he was doing out there. Hiking. Do you know how creepy that is? Someone says, referencing the fact that he was walking around randomly in the deserted plains, in the dark, by himself. Yeah, he's the creepster. We made several jokes calling him the creepster, but he seemed like a quiet but good-natured fellow and laughed with us. We asked him to hang out with us and got him a beer. He had sort of strange mannerisms like a drug burnout and a scar in his mouth like a cleft lip scar or something. I'm so freaking stupid. The whole time the hooded guy is acting in a strange way, like he is waiting at the DMV or sitting at a dentist's office or something. I don't know how else to describe it. I remember thinking that he is probably just awkward. It starts to sink in for me maybe 20 minutes later that something incredibly wrong is going on. I start to feel panicked. I start to pack my shit away. It is past midnight and some people have already left. I tell bro number 2 that we are about to oust this joint, that we should smoke before we hit the road. I tell him to get Dan because he's always down to smoke. Dan is completely missing. Where the fuck is Dan? We ask everyone. We ask them when they last saw him. We walk around the area with flashlights, thinking he had to call his mom or he pissed his pants or he was taking a shit down the desert. We blow up his phones with calls and text messages to no response. He was not. Bro number 2 and I drive around honking with the brights on, trying to locate him. We have been looking for him for 45 minutes. Dan is gone. We hope, we pray, that Dan was serious about going home and got a ride with one of the gays who left earlier. Now we really need to leave. Right now. We can drop by his house to see if he is there. For some reason, everyone assumes that we will take care of the hoodie guy. They get in their cars and say goodbye. I'm the driver. I would feel like an a-hole leaving hoodie guy out in the freaking desert. How would he get home? How did he get out here? How did he get out here? I offer to give him a ride. I'm actually sweating on the trip home. Bro number 2 in the passenger seat asks him where he lives. He gives us verbal directions to a street Calle de la Plata. My stomach drops instantly. That is the street where both Dan and I live. Bro number 2, a short distance away. Holy freaking shit. We say nothing. There is no, oh wow, we live there too, or how long have you lived there? The rest of the ride is in silence. We bring him to the major intersection just a block away from where Dan lives. We drop him off there and he thanks us. We go to Dan's house, his mom, but no Dan. Not wanting to worry her, we don't tell her or call the cops or anything. He must have gone off to party with some other troop. I called Dan in the morning. I think it was one of the most emotional conversations I've ever had in my life. I was literally in tears. I don't know why. It wasn't sadness. Dan's story is as follows. He watched us leave the party camp last night. He said goodbye to us. He says that we left abruptly with the hoodie guy. Dan, where were you last night? You were gone for at least 2 hours. We spent almost one of those 2 hours looking in the desert for your ass. I was there the whole time. No you weren't, no you fucking weren't. Did you go to take a shit for 2 hours somewhere? I was there the whole time. Completely without words, I spent a lot of time just sitting in a chair thinking over what happened. Then I get a call from bro number 2, who has a much worse story. We go over to see Brent. Brent was one of the gays who was at the party camp. He brought the chicks. The chicks were over there too when we went to see him. They say we never looked for Dan. They say that Dan was never missing. He was there the whole time. And we left before he did. They say that we arrived with the hoodie guy, that he was with us in our car when we got there. I try to calm down and explain to them that it is impossible. We arrived with Dan. Why did you call him the creepster then? I ask her. I don't know, he was just really quiet and had a weird scar. No, you frickin' saw him walk out of the desert. He walked out of the pitch black darkness. You were frickin' there. Bro number 2 and I are yelling at the top of our lungs. They don't seem to understand what we are so upset about. They keep telling us to calm down. They do not remember how strange it was that he was in the middle of the desert. He came with you. Dan does not really ever hang out with us anymore. He was always a fun guy to be around. His mom says he's going through some personal struggles. But since March 2012, he does not really even talk to me or bro number 2. Sometimes I wonder if my friends have some sort of amnesia or collective blocking. Sometimes I wonder what happened to Dan when he was gone for 2 hours. Sometimes I wonder if the hoodie guy was a freaking human being. I have a memory that still bugs me to this day. When I was about 10, my family had a dog. It was a retriever named Mooney, and we had him for about a year before he randomly disappeared one day. Parents said he must have run away, and we were all bummed because he was a great dog. Well, a week later, I see him wandering around the street and call out to him. He perks up and rushes over. I tell my parents, hey look, Mooney's back. And they seem really weird about it. Almost sad. Years later, I bring this up with them and they tell me that Mooney was a freaking bulldog. I just randomly brought a retriever home one day insisting that it was our dog Mooney. They figured I was just sad and coping, so they just let me keep the dog. Lol. Thing is, I don't remember ever having a bulldog. I don't think I was young enough to make that sort of mistake either. And I remember calling out to Mooney. He responded to his name. Whole thing fucking bugs the shit out of me. I posted this on the last thread, but it got archived quickly, so I'll post it again. Be me. Visit Algeria with family in 2009. Visit cool places around the coast. Find a tourist attraction where they could let you cross the Sahara with a party of people. Most of the trip is uneventful. We reached the Libyan border. This is Gaddafi's Libya, so border control is very strict. We had to stake out in an oasis town till they processed our passes. Evening comes and our party gets a barbecue together. We're talking about the journey, but one guy is absent. A Greek dude who's mostly very talkative is staring out into the desert. I look towards the direction he is. The sun still slightly pops from the horizon. Cool, I think. But then I notice the people. In front of the sun, a group of silhouettes is standing maybe 300 meters away. I want to look away but can't. I stare for a few minutes and tap on my shoulder knocks me out of it. I walk up to the Greek dude and tap him out. He looks at me and shouts, wow. He starts telling everyone about the silhouettes. The guide quickly shuts him up. He tells us not to stare because the sun messes with your eyes. Clearly bullshitting, but okay. We get shooed off to our rooms. I'm chilling out with family when we hear frantic knocking. It's the Greek. He's freaking out. You saw it. You did. I know you did. He kept talking about the silhouettes. He then dragged me out of the room and told me to follow him. He told me to look around. I saw a small blue and yellow dot on the horizon. No matter which way you looked, they were there. Greek is going nuts. Then two of the blue dots start getting bigger. Tell the Greek to shut the fuck up. The dots get very bright. A blue light illuminates my body. I start feeling very exhausted. Me and Greek fall on the ground. We both start vomiting. Then someone comes with the brightest flashlight I've ever seen. I get a glance at what was being illuminated. It was a humanoid figure. It was wearing a skull covered in arms. Pic related is a sketch of what I saw. It retreats back into the darkness. This dude screams at us in Arabic. The guy comes and slaps us with a sandal. Tells us to get the fuck in and not come out until dawn. Dawn comes and we pass through Libya with no trouble. The whole journey, me and Greek are silent. Guide doesn't even want to look at us. When we come back to Algeria, Guide advises us to go to a hospital. I do. Doctors ask us weird questions like any bad dreams, hallucinations, relatives seeming like strangers. Answers no to all. They let me out. Feel uneasy the rest of the trip. Be me, 12 years old, attending Catholic school with a playground that had lots of trees, like a little forest. I get detention one day and two of my friends stay with me to rake leaves in the forest. It is now 6ish p.m. and we're almost done, so we start playing around throwing pebbles at each other. I see one of my friends hiding behind a tree and grab a fistful of gunk to shove it down his pants. As I approach him, I hear two of my friends call out to me and I'm weirded out because the only people left at the school are a couple of teachers and the basketball team. I turn around and start hearing leaves rustling behind me and I make a run for it. Spot my two friends and yell for help. One starts running away and the other looks like he's gonna shit his pants. I don't look back and keep running, eventually catching up to him and pull him by the arm to come with me. Other kid starts yelling for help. Basketball team and gym teacher run over to me and I black out from fear and exhaustion. Wake up in the arms of some teacher and I get laid down in the infirmary bed. My head is still throbbing and I ask for water, but the teacher leaves me there alone and gets the F back outside. Mom and dad come pick me up and dad stays in school while my mother drives me back home. Monday comes and everyone is talking about what happened. Shitpants kid didn't come to school. I ask around and another friend told me he was sick. Get called to the mother principal's office along with the kid who ran away. My mom and his dad are there too. The nun starts apologizing to both our parents and almost begs them not to sue. I'm in the dark up to that point because my parents had asked me what happened over the weekend and wouldn't answer my questions. Just comfort me and let me sleep in their bed. The guy goes on a rant about how he pays good money for his son to go there and blah blah blah. Mom and I are asked to step outside for a moment, and then we go back in. The nun says she's gonna ask us what happened. I tell her my version. She turns to the other kid and asks if he'd like to share. Kid is visibly shaken up but starts talking. He says I got separated from the two other boys and that they hear me scream. And as I made my way up the little hill, he saw a face staring back at them popping up behind a tree. He says he then saw the thing start coming up behind the tree and he started to run. Says it looked all black except the face. Could have been the lighting. Nun asks him to draw the face and the kid draws some Picasso bullshit of a thing with big lips and chink eyes. Mother what's-her-name says that'll be all for today and we can all return to our classroom. Mom kisses me goodbye and asks me to eat lunch inside instead of playing outside. I play outside anyway. Forest has people cutting down trees and yellow tape around it. Stay near the basketball court eating lunch with the other kid and a shit ton of kids who wanted to hear the story and they ask dumb shit like, was it Slender Man? We both exaggerate our stories and they are amazed. Couple of days go by. It's now Thursday and Shitpants shows up. He looks okay. I go up to him and ask him why he didn't come to school. Says he is changing schools. Probably because he made a scene at home. Ask him what happened after I fainted. Says he kept staring at the forest and describes the same chink monster my other friend drew. Says the thing kept staring back at him even when people came to take us away. Ask a gym teacher what happened that day, and he says he didn't see anything at the forest. But since both my friends' stories matched up describing the thing, the mother principal got really upset and is having the trees gone for good. I get sad because I really like the woods. I like to climb the trees. Things return to normal. Kid's dad didn't sue. My parents take me out of there and they let me attend a regular school. Never know what happened. Mom brushes it off as kids being kids. I'm 22 now and found out my dad was really into the occult and we have similar interests because I've been reading and practicing since 20. He says it's the weirdest shit he's ever seen because we couldn't have been lying since the kids saw the same thing. Says he thinks it could have been an egregore we materialized with our collective mischief, but that the mother was convinced it was a demon and that's why she had the forest theft over. Are these stories fact or fiction? You decide.